Oh, oh.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Coming to you with a special bonus episode of Good Morning Hospitality. You'll notice that I am the only GMH co-host today. I'm flying solo, but not totally alone because I am bringing an all-star team back together. I have with me on the call Andreas King-Geovanis and Iskander Karimov, my former CEO and CFO at Roami. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for
Thank you,
having
thank you.
us.
Yeah, it's kind of surreal. We spent like every day together for a decade, and now I haven't seen you in a little bit. But we're kind of getting the band back together for some exciting news. So, Andreas, why don't you tell us why we're here?
Yeah, we have officially closed on the sale of Romy, and it feels great. It's a lot of different emotions. It's exciting. In some ways, it's bittersweet. In other ways, I'm just relieved. It's a flood of different emotions, but all very positive, I would say.
Yeah, how about you, Iskander? How are you feeling?
I do miss working with you guys, but yes, it is bittersweet. But I'm really proud of the brand and the company that we've built. All the experiences that we received throughout the process. It's been a hell of a ride for sure.
Yeah, I am on the last day, I definitely did cry. Um, but I think it was such a great experience, and it feels nice to kind of wrap it all up. I was talking to some people kind of that have later on in their career when we were wrapping things up, getting some perspectives on, you know, full lifetime careers. And one guy I talked to said that he views his life in these like 10-year cycles. And that really resonated with me because we had basically a 10-year cycle, built a business from the ground up, and then we're able to sell it. So, Andreas, who acquired us?
CozySuites. So they are, I think, the second largest apart hotel operator in the U.S. They are incredibly humble, not extremely flashy, and they came in with a very compelling offer. We received five; they were the highest. No one could match their offer. And as an added bonus, they kept the brand, which was certainly nice. So I'm excited to see the Romy brand grow and evolve from a huge operator, the largest operator in South Florida and New Orleans, to now getting some national scale. So I'm really looking forward to see what they do.
Yeah, John and Victor, their co-founders couldn't be with us today, but we know that Romy's in good hands. As the person that really like led a lot of the rebrand, I was like, oh my God, if all of that work, I felt like so emotionally attached to all the work we did. So I'm very happy that they're keeping the brand alive. And it's great to see so many of our buildings. Like we spent a lot of time in those buildings, especially in New Orleans. A lot of us lived there for a long time to get that market up and running. So it's so good to see that like legacy continue and know that it's in really good hands.
I think the most steps I ever took in one day actually was in Factors Row. It was 44,000 steps, which I think is the equivalent to right around marathon, 26.2 miles, but it was just within one building. So you certainly want to see, the same guests be able to enjoy the property, the same employees be able to work on site, and it's been great. So next time I go to New Orleans, I'm excited to stay in a Romy property and hopefully not have to jump behind the front desk.
Yeah. Yeah. You get to make it somebody else's problem now.
Exactly. Call John and Victor.
Yeah. Be like, I requested an early check-in.
And white shoe polish.
Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of fun that we get this opportunity to talk together and kind of reminisce a little bit. So I'm curious, Iskander, what is a favorite memory that you have of our time together?
Oh, I have many, many ones. But I think In 2024, we had a really fun time when we added about 400 units to the portfolio. That was very, very stressful on all ends, starting from pitching owners, underwriting, actually to getting to onboard these things. I think, Brandy, you were in New Orleans. Andreas and I were, plunging toilets in Miami Beach, and it was trying to get ready the property for Ultra, and yeah, it was great, but it was a lot of teamwork, and it was a really exciting time, I think, for us, for the team, and I think I was probably one of the happiest moments in the company at that point.
Yeah, it was really funny. I remember being like, "Okay, we just added 300 units to New Orleans," or something like that, and there was like, "And that's like the former operator Saunders gonna be out on the 30th, and you have to start on the 3rd." And I was like, "Excuse me?" Like,
Like, I,
but
I
you know what?
can't. Yeah, no, I can't imagine how it was. Like, I only did one building on and operations onboarding that thing, and for us, pitching is tough, but getting those things onboarded at the same time, getting everything like ready to go, it's a hell of a job that you did there.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I mean, the team, it really goes to show we had such great employees on the Roami team because everybody just like locked in because you still have to service all the guests that are coming in and expecting a stay. And then while also getting all the Sonder stuff out. Do they have towels? Did they leave the sheets? Where's the soap? Like, what are we doing about the locks or the intercoms? Oh my God, the intercoms. And and I think it's just funny now that I'm in kind of the other side of the world dealing with like regular kind of like single family home vacation rental style. But the one thing that is constant is owner ridiculous expectations sometimes. And so these institutional or boutique landlords that are like, yeah, you can just turn all these units on a dime.
Yeah,
But
that was an exciting time for the company. And I think it's pretty indicative of how we grew. We were always opportunistic, and there'd be stages when it was really expensive to grow, and we wouldn't add a single unit for 6 months. And then all of a sudden, there'd be a displacement in the market, and growth was cheap, and it was all hands on deck. Let's get these units. Part of our value prop was, we had done a lot of takeovers in the past, and we made a promise to landlords that we would get those units up and running and have, revenue to cover their mortgage expenses, and we delivered, even though it was 80-90 hour work weeks and everyone had to get their hands dirty.
everybody's
It was
closing those
I don't know if
rings
I
for
would call it
sure.
fun. I don't know if I would call it fun. It was certainly fulfilling. The end result
Yeah.
was fulfilling, but that's how you have to grow sometimes.
Yeah. And so what about you, Andreas? What were some of your
Mm.
favorite memories?
The people is number one, and then number two, I would say really innovation. So when COVID hit, we were a much smaller company. I think we only had 60 units, so we were
Mhm.
very agile. We could make decisions quickly. We didn't have to go through a lot of red tape to kind of navigate that. So when I think about, our virtual concierge, when we put someone in the Philippines on a video conferencing monitor and had this contactless check-in where you could still look at someone face to face at eye level and get responses in real time and have, a new door code, an early check-in, a restaurant recommendation, a bill or receipt sent to your email. All of that could be done from anywhere in the world. And so COVID was this catalyst of innovation for us where we said, you know what? If we were a Marriott hotel, there's no way we could do this, but we're not. We don't have those restrictions. So we just got to innovate and iterate. And it's been interesting to see that some of the innovations we came up with 5 or 6 years ago are actually just starting to become accepted. Virtual concierge
Yep.
being one of them. I saw this really funny article where someone had an iPad and a credit card terminal like mounted right underneath it. And I think it was like a Days in Miami, and it went viral, and it was interesting because it's controversial. Some people thought it was totally fine, and then other people wanted the real human experience. But the critics and the supporters all thought it was novel, and it was interesting to see. You know, we did that 6 years ago.
Yeah, you're like,
Uh,
hey, we started this trend.
yeah, that's right. So I would just say the iteration. You know, if you remember, we first started with those mobile robots. It was
I
essentially an
I have a
iPad on a
video of
Segway.
you like in the Factors Row common room. Jesse took it, and you are literally trying to hit me with the robot. You're chasing
I
me
am the
around the common
robot.
room. You're on
I
the
am the
robot.
guy on the
Yeah.
iPad, and I'm like going, and it like overcorrected, and then overcorrected again, and then ended
Yeah.
up ramming Brandy. So yeah, there was probably 5 or 6 iterations from the end product of Virtual Concierge,
Mm.
that and that was great. Just kind of having creative free will to go and try something and then iterate.
Yeah, I have to say, like your first comment about people, that's, it's not a favorite moment, but just a general thing that I really have such fondness for was our leadership team. We had so many great people on this team, and we met every week. We had these quarterly meetings, and we sat down and addressed, like, over the years, we had to confront some like pretty big challenges. And I think we did so in such a great way. I mean, there were really great moments in those quarterly meetings and weekly meetings, but then there were tense moments where we had to like really work through some challenges. And there was now that I can look back on it, like such a level of trust because we were able to say, like, I actually don't agree with that, or how like this enormous task is in front of us. How are we going to handle it? And now, kind of with hindsight, being like, wow, we were so lucky to have such talented and, I don't know, special people on our team. We always had a good time too, sometimes arguably too much fun. Um, but I just, those are some great moments. And also the New Orleans, like that COVID era, like our bubble of basically just being in this Factors Row and trying to swap out all this furniture. And the one specific day I remembered, we had bought all of Lyric's old furniture, and it was getting shipped to us in like 12 tractor trailers. And they're like, "What's your loading dock situation?" We're like, "It's the door to a restaurant, and we're gonna take the doors off the hinges." And where they were like, "We need one truck at a time so we can unload this." And then I got outside, and there were 3 tractor trailers outside. And we're like, "Okay, well, I guess it's time to start unloading." It was so it was so stressful and like such a crazy time. But like looking back, it really felt like we were hustling really hard
Yeah.
to put together this company, and that like those couple of months would like catapulted us into a totally different level. And I'm like so proud. And I can look back on it fondly, maybe rose-colored glasses, but it was certainly a really interesting time.
Yeah. No, that's so true. So I want to put you on the spot, Brandy. I'm
Oh
asking the
no.
questions now.
Okay. Okay.
One of
Okay.
my favorite things was the core values, and I still
Mm.
live these in my personal life. And I think if I were to, start a new organization, I honestly don't know if I would change any of the core values. I thought that is what, drove the culture and made us such a strong, healthy team. So, can you name all of our core values?
Oh shit, yes, I can. Okay. Humility with confidence, value of a dollar, positive attitude, team first, engaged. Oh my gosh, what am I missing? Empathy? No, that's not one of them. It was
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah,
yes, empathy.
yeah, yeah.
Was it 6 or 7? What am I missing? Humility with confidence,
You
value
had
of a
kind
dollar.
of mentioned it with the tractor trailers.
Oh, adaptable.
Adaptable.
Yes,
There you
yes,
go.
yes.
There you
So
go. Yeah.
it's
No, you
funny.
nailed
It's
it.
funny because I'm like, "Oh, shit." But I say it's so funny because those like, all of those things were so ingrained in us that I say I, like, randomly put, like, value of a dollar in conversations. Like, if there's something, like, where we, like, save money on flights or, like, something happens out in the wild with I'm with friends that have no idea, and I'm like, "Oh, value of a dollar," and people are
Robin
like,
Dollar.
"What does that
I
mean?"
tell my wife that daily.
Yeah.
Understand the value of a dollar.
A dollar. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I think that was Iskander's favorite core value.
I
Oh yeah.
yeah. For sure. Finance is where dreams go to die. That was just one that Tessa and I love to throw around.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. But that's, that is another good point. The core values were so important. And it was really great, to be able to hire and fire based on those. And when people weren't performing well, it wasn't always necessarily that they weren't doing the task wrong. It was that, what is your attitude about this? Like, are you like, oh, this is my lane, I was hired to do this one thing and I'm not going to step outside the box? As anyone in hospitality knows, like, you need people that are going to be willing to cross pollinate and lend a hand. And I think it was great to see so many employees look out for each other, look out for the company, really treat like money as their own. I think one of the employees that was best at that is Tom Armley. He was one frugal guy. He was finance's best friend. And so many people I think about, we had such a great team, and I'm really proud that we built that, and that we were able to, that so many of those people are still able to continue to like be with the company is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was I'd say the other added bonus, keeping the brand, keeping the properties, and then keeping the employees was great.
Yeah,
For
I
any
drive by the properties almost every day, and through my way to work, and sometimes I even see Roami trucks. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I
I
know.
see Roami trucks probably once a week, and I stopped in Habitat, and it was such a surreal feeling because I didn't recognize the person at the front desk, and they obviously had no idea
who's in my
who
house.
I was. Exactly. And so it was, I remember that a distinct moment when I just didn't know every single employee at the company. Probably when we got to like 70 or 80 employees, I wasn't interviewing everybody. And so that was an interesting moment. But this moment was a little bit different in the sense that it's no longer my company. And it was more visceral than signing paperwork and actually selling the company, going
Yeah.
in to one of your old properties where you spent so much time, and then not recognizing employees and having them not recognize you back. It was an interesting feeling, but I don't mind being incognito because I like to kind of see the real experience.
Mhm.
But they did an excellent job.
Yeah, one thing I have to give you a lot of credit for, especially now that we're kind of like off in our next ventures, is so for any leader listening, Andreas at our town halls every month would have an anonymous Q&A at the end of the town hall, and it was truly anonymous, although sometimes we could figure out who it was based on the question. And people could ask any questions, and people asked real questions. I just have to give you your
They grilled
flowers.
us sometimes.
Yeah, for answering some
Yeah.
tough questions.
And I want to say, not only was it anonymous and unfiltered, but it was real time. So it
Mhm.
wasn't like we had the opportunity to say, oh, let's screen this question. We don't want to ask it. As soon as someone hit send, the entire company could see it. But that was really the right way to do that. I remember one of our quarterly meetings, we were like, do we want to have this level of transparency? And we were all aligned that yes, that's a good thing. The worst thing you could do as a leader is to not take these questions head on. So when you kind of give all the employees an outlet to ask the tough questions, like, are we getting bonuses this year? Iskander's favorite question. You kind of give everyone a platform where you can kind of quash any rumor, address a disgruntled employee. It's just a very healthy outlet. So to any leaders listening, I highly recommend it. You might think it's scary, but out of the thousands of questions that were asked, I would say there was maybe three or four that were just from bad actors. So it's a very, very, very low probability, and it's overall an extremely healthy process, and I'd say overwhelmingly positive as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now we are on our separate ways now, sadly. Iskander, what are you up to these days?
Yeah, I am actually consulting for condo hotel developers here in South Florida. There's 13,000 units that are being built right now, and condo hotel developers are just not tapping into the operating companies. They just build these buildings and they sell them off. But what they're missing is actually the operating company is very, very valuable and is actually worth something. So what we're doing is we're helping these developers create these operating companies and operate them and actually create value for themselves, not just selling the units, but also creating the company to operate. And that's something where Andreas can, I guess, help in terms of value creation for operating companies.
And
Yeah.
Andreas, you and I are kind of frenemies now.
We are friendly competitors, and we're both W-2 employees,
Yep.
and it's different. I love it. So I joined stakeholders as head of M&A just in January, actually. Um, and it's about as autonomous of a role as you can have and as entrepreneurial as a role that you can have while still being a W-2 employee. But for those who aren't familiar, we're a super group within the vacation rental industry that is actively buying companies similar to Roami, and then really creating a lot of value, whether it's kind of rolling up accounting and HR, everyone's two favorite departments, or negotiating better payment processing fees, and really just kind of bringing institutional support to operations that don't have access to those resources. So having started a business totally bootstrapped, going on to raise capital, selling the process, going through a decade of ups and downs. I would like to think I've kind of seen it all, but of course, in hospitality, we know that's not true. So just being able to relate to the challenges and the victories and losses of these founders, and really get them comfortable with selling their company, it's a dream job for me. So I'm super excited to do it. And then if Iskander is able to create some in-house operating companies from these developers, and the economics are good and the reviews are great, then certainly Brandy and I can fight over those deals.
Yeah, I was like, I'll put my hat in the ring. Statera is also shopping. So, um, well, that's fantastic. It's great that, now we can kind of, we're not, there's a level of stress that I think has been removed, from kind of running an operating company. So, it's exciting to see what we're all going to do next. And of course, we wish John and Victor and the whole Cozy and Romy team all the best. It's going to be so exciting to see how they build the brand and how they continue to expand. So, very excited to see what they're going to do next. And who knows, maybe they'll do something so exciting. They'll be one of our Monday morning topics in the near future. But thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you to Andreas and Iskander for joining me on this little Romy reunion. And we'll see you guys all next time.
Oh. Oh.